Now, I've had so many paranormal experiences. One in particular, I had a friend in New York City who I had met her boyfriend once. I shook his hand. I knew nothing about this guy other than that they were dating. The night I shook his hand, I went home and I had a dream that he attacked her in my kitchen, and there was a little girl in between them. And I ran out, grabbed the girl, took her to the bathroom, and I woke up gasping for air. And I called her right away and I said, I had a really terrifying dream last night, and I told her about it. And she laughed it off. She said he was harmless. He would never do anything to hurt her. Well, a month later, she finds out she's pregnant. He doesn't want her to have the child. He attacks her in his kitchen. She remembers my dream. So I show up in Abu Dhabi and my father messages me and he's like, you finally made it. And because he had known that I'd been wanting to come here for a long time from back when he came to interview for Emirates back in 2006. And I rented an apartment in the marina, the Dubai marina. And I had met another expat, another American expat when I was living in Vienna. And she decided she was going to come to Dubai too. So she came and she stayed with me. And I was there for about a couple of weeks. And while I was in Dubai, I kept being fed in my algorithm, because I guess of where I was in my location, I kept getting fed Islamic videos and scholars and people talking about Islam. And I was watching them out of curiosity. And a lot of what they were saying, I believed in. And I thought to myself, like, I feel like I resonate even more with this religion than I even realized. And when my friend had showed up, the doorman told her that there was a woman's only pool in my building. And I had no idea that this existed. So one day, me and my friend go to the pool, and there's a woman there who's visiting from England. Now, she was an English Pakistani girl, and the gentleman who also called me in the previous video to tell me about Islam and tried to send me an English version of the Quran, he was also Pakistani English. So we started talking, and I told her, she was wearing a hijab, so I knew she was Muslim. And I told her that I had another Muslim friend who was also British, like she was, and that he had introduced me to Islam, or he was kind of like the originator of my searching with this religion. And she asked me, do you have an English version of the Quran? And I said, no, I don't, but he's been trying to send me one. And she said, I'm here for the week visiting from England, and I went to visit the Quranic Park, and we were doing a group tour, and the sheikh approached me with an English version of the Quran and said, find a seeker who is non-Muslim and give this to them. So I think it belongs to you. I was so blown away by this. And then she asked me if I wanted to go do my shahada. I had totally forgot that I had told my friend that I would convert if I was living in a Middle Eastern country, because it wasn't on the forefront of my mind to convert. It just kind of landed in my lap. And so I said yes without hesitation. So she calls the sheikh and makes an appointment with him for us to do the shahada the very next day. It was this amazing, beautiful piece of land, and they have a glass house in the park as well with all these different herbs and fruits that are mentioned in the Quran. And there was a big group of people there from all over, from Sweden, Australia, and they were there to support my journey and converting to Islam. And it was so emotional for everybody. Like, everybody was so kind and so welcoming and inviting. And I did the shahada, and the shahada is basically acknowledging that there's one God, there's one creator, and that he's the only one, the only being worthy of worship. So you also acknowledge Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Jesus when you say the shahada. So I do the shahada, and the sheikh says we should go see the caves. So we go to see the caves, and they have this presentation in the caves where each part of the cave you could learn about a different prophet. And I will show you guys a video at the end. We're walking through the caves, and all of a sudden I get this deja vu moment, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing stone seats, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the cave. It looks like the cave from my dream 13 years ago when a man named Muhammad came to me and delivered me a message from God. So I told the sheikh, I had a dream actually about this. And he said, oh, that's our prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He must have come to you. I have goosebumps talking about this. He must have come to you. Islam found you. And that's why I say, I did not find Islam. Islam found me, because I had no idea who this man was. I had never heard of him. And it came back full circle that I ended up converting at this amazing place where these caves were. And he said, our prophet did all of his teachings in caves. So he must have chosen you to be a follower of Islam. I'm just even getting emotional talking about it. And it felt like everything just made sense. Everything made sense. Everything came back full circle. And I felt like this is exactly where I needed to be, and that time had kind of stopped, and that I was being just divinely guided by Allah. About a week later, I call my father and I tell him, I need to tell you something. I converted to Islam, and I wasn't sure how he was going to react. And he got silent, and then he got emotional. And my dad is not one to get emotional. And he had known about my journey with Buddhism. He had known about my journey with other, just seeking knowledge and wisdom. And he was so touched by this. And I could feel his sincerity in his heart. And I said, don't tell anybody in the family yet. They'll think it's weird. And he said, it's good to be weird. So my father always supported me in this journey. And come to find out, my father knew more about Islam than I did when I converted. And it actually deepened my bond that I have with my father. Like, we have so much more to talk about because he lived in the Middle East for so long. And I feel like my father's like secretly Muslim, even though he has not converted. But it deepened my bond with my father. And I ended up going to the Sheikh Zayed Mosque to check it out. It's a beautiful place in Abu Dhabi that was created by the founder of the UAE, this amazing man. If y'all don't know about Sheikh Zayed, definitely look into him. He was such an amazing leader. And I'm taking some photos and I send them to my father, and he said to me, you look like you're home. I feel almost like this divine presence in my life, and my intuition here since I've been in the UAE has been so strong. The people here are so respectful. The Muslim community is so respectful. It's a safe and beautiful place to live for women. They really value women here. I know there's a lot of like misconceptions about Islam, but women are honored and revered. And actually the Quran says that heaven lies under your mother's feet. And I just have had such a beautiful experience living in the Middle East and with my faith, and feeling like I finally found the truth for me. And I feel like I'm not, kind of living in this rat race of manifestation and how to manifest to this or that. And just kind of like this, in the manifestation community, it's like this rat race of needing more and more and more to manifest. But when you have faith in Allah, and when you submit to Allah and you surrender to God's love and you pray to connect with God's love, it gives you a peace that you have never experienced before. I've never experienced before. So I feel so blessed and I feel so connected. And that is how I found Islam, or how Islam found me. Here is me and my friend at the Chronic Park when I converted in September. And this is me in the caves.